Yo, what is up, all you gamers out there? The name is Tekken Heat. I'm bringing you guys the very first episode of my Would You Rather series, which is pretty much going to be a weekly series where I bring up either one or two Would You Rather questions and kind of give a good summary of why I chose the answer to either or of the question. Now, the question that we're going to have today is: would you rather go back in time or would you rather go into the future? And my answer, I think, is quite obvious, and it is pretty much go into the future for multiple reasons. The first big reason, and it might sound kind of messed up, but it is very true, is if I, a teenage African American male, were to go back into the past, I would be either in slavery or I'd be living somewhere in Africa or wherever the black people also lived in. And I'm pretty sure it would not be as great still. I'll probably be going through many kinds of sicknesses or doing some kind of ritual nonsense. But pretty much for a African American male or African American period, the past is not a pretty place for us. It's not a pretty place for us to ever be in. And I know that it sounds racist and stuff, but that's where it all happened. The racism and stuff happened in the past, and if I were to ever go to the past, I would have to live it through that. And I couldn't deal with that because I have a hard time holding my tongue, and I'm pretty sure that I would die at any second. So going to the future is my definite choice. And there are actually more reasons to why I would rather go to the future than the past. For instance, look at where we are now. We have gone so far in technology that it is unbelievable. That it's gone to the point where you kind of stop and think of how people in the past were able to do what they could, like transportation. We have cars. Back then, they had horses. Sometimes they would even have to just like walk from place to place, and that would take forever. When it came to mailing stuff from one place to another, that thing would take forever because you would have to rely on it getting to somebody on a carriage, and they would have to ride all the way from point A to point B, and that can take days, that can take weeks, or that can even take months. And no, with that kind of inconvenience, it's quite insane. Also, the internet. One of the greatest things about our generation nowadays is that we have access to the internet, which pretty much gives us access to knowing anything in this world. You can go on the internet and look up any solution to your problems. If you have any questions about anything, you can go to the internet and find out. Back in the days, either there was somebody who was proficient in it, or you would have to go to libraries if those were even popular back then. And I just don't see that, at least in my eyes, I just can't live through that. I would be too bored. I would definitely be more lazier than I am today. I just couldn't deal with that, you know. And also, video games, as you can tell, video games right now is my life. I love video games. Video games is my biggest passion. I just can't imagine myself without video games, and going back into the past, that that's just not gonna work out for me. I'm not that kind of person who likes to go outside for hours on end just chilling with whoever. No, I need to have some kind of entertainment with me that can be that has a pretty longevity to it. I am not going to go outside and play, sticks or whatever the hell people did in the past. They probably didn't even go out and play that much. They were probably doing chores, which no, I just couldn't live with it. Future is where I belong, and I'm very curious to see on what is next. Is it gonna be like Back to the Future, how we all have hoverboards, because that'll be fun? Is it gonna be like, are there going to be robots? Is it going to potentially be like the Terminator, how technology has become, how we've made technology so advanced that it has that it now has a mind of its own, and now it's technology versus humans, and we're all in an all-out war. I really want to see how the future is going to be. So it can either be a good thing or a bad thing, but hopefully it is a good thing to go into the future, because I do so believe that seeing how where we are today, you know, hell, 5, 10 years from now, it's just going to be completely different from where we are today, seeing as how rapidly things are becoming. Like, think about it. Nowadays we have, let's say 3D. We have 3D. About 10 years in the past, I think that was like one of the rarest things you could ever find. Going to the movies, watching 3D, watching things pop out at you, like that was very rare like 10 years ago. I know that's a guesstimate, but it's just giving you guys a thought that some of the things that we have today, you know, how we have these consoles, how we have, you know, such high performance cars, and, you know, our phones, our iPhones, our smartphones. Think about it. 10, 20 years in the past, it was nowhere near as advanced as it is now. We have mobile computers that people in the past probably wouldn't even think that was possible, at least anytime soon. It's just amazing. And just thinking about like how things are going to be like 10, 15, 20, 100 years from now, it just blows my mind. I just wish I could go and just see what it will be like. So as far as that question goes, would I rather go into the past or go into the future? I think it's hands down go into the future, because technology, and because the racism won't isn't as great as it was in the past. So yeah, my next question is, would you rather live in a world of peace or live in a world where you pretty much rule everything? So pretty much where you're a king, emperor, whatever, synonym you want to give it. In all honesty, I would rather live in a world of peace. I would not want to live in a world where I rule, because in all honesty, that's that's a lot of responsibility. That's a lot of responsibility, and there are so many possible chances of revolutions, so many chances of people trying to kill you and stuff. It's too much pressure. I would rather live in a world of peace where there is hardly any worry, and if there is a worry, then it's nothing too big. It's just like the tiniest things that can easily be resolved. Think about it. Living in a world with no wars, no terrorists, no conflict, no racism. you know, I'm not too big on the whole racism thing. At the same time, I don't care too much about it, but racism is still a thing, but I just don't like thinking about it or going to the reality that it still really exists. I just like, shove it off and stuff. Because think about it, people nowadays with racism, they take everything. If it's a white on black conflict, they automatically throw racism out, and I think it's just straight up ridiculous. So, anyways, living in world peace, if you think about it, when there's no conflict, everyone is happy. I think that's what everyone has been trying to go for. Everybody has been trying to go for a world of happiness. That's why we constantly be voting for presidents and stuff, because we're constantly trying to find somebody who's looking to make us happy. If we could live in a world where we've actually successfully created happiness, then I think there's nothing else you could ask for, because in the end everybody just wants to be happy, everybody wants to be at peace. Nobody really wants to have enemies. Okay, nobody wants to go throughout life and just think like, oh, who am I going to hate today, or who am I going to try to have a conflict with. Everybody just wants to go throughout their days with peace, quiet, relaxation, and I believe that's the world I want to live in. I do not want to live in a world where I'm the ruler of the world, throwing out rules that I like, but a whole group of people will like hate and will try to, again, cause revolution. For instance, the American Revolution. We were ruled by the king, the British people. We didn't like that. We were the underdogs, and we decided to create a revolution and pretty much gain our freedom. I believe if I were to rule the world, that will guaranteed happen. Many people would try to have a revolution and possibly kill me. You know, that's just something I just don't want to deal with. Yeah, I would try to create as much world peace as I can, but I think nobody really wants to be ruled by one person. That's just not fair. So I too would agree with that, and that's why I say world peace over me being emperor. So that's everything I have to say. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please let me know what your answers would be to both of these questions. Again, the questions are: would you rather go back in time or into the future? And would you rather live in a world of peace or live in a world where you pretty much rule over everything? So let me know what you guys feel. Till next time, this has been your boy taking heat, and I'm out. Peace.